So let's start off with the main event and work our way down. So as we mentioned, Calvin Kattar will be taking on Giga Chikadze. Calvin is currently number 5 and Giga is number 8. Calvin is 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and Giga is currently 7-0 in the UFC with a total record of 14-2. To be honest, I'm not expecting this fight to go down to the ground at all, unless, there's some kind of slip of some kind and one of the fighters takes advantage of the opportunity. But both guys are phenomenal strikers. But in my opinion, I think Giga Chikadze is a more diverse arsenal of tools. We've seen his kicks, his liver kicks. They just put guys down. Like, I've never seen someone generate that kind of power to just drop so many of his opponents with that kind of a kick. I do think he has more power. But look, Calvin Kattar is not someone to count out either. I know he had a couple of rough fights, with Holloway. He didn't look too great. But hey, the guy's still a tough prospect.
Who do you think has more power, Giga or Kattar?
I think Giga has more power. Do you agree?
I think Giga has more power too, but I was watching some interviews and some fighters talking about the fight, and a lot of fighters say that they believe that Kattar has the power advantage, which I don't really see at all.
I mean, look, maybe Kattar has the heavier punches, but I think Giga definitely has a stronger kick, and generally speaking, a kick generates more power than the punch. So I think it's going to come down to who's more accurate and, who can dictate the fight, because like I said, both guys are very high level strikers.
Yeah, and Giga's kicks are just one of a kind. I actually posted a post on our Instagram today, just showing 3 of his liver kicks. I honestly don't recall a fighter ending so many fights with that liver kick. It's insane to see. He did it with Cub Swanson. He did it with a bunch of people in Glory. So I feel like he has one of the best kicks in the game, and he's just on such a hot winning streak right now. So it's gonna be hard to take him out.
Yeah, I also love how active Giga is. He had 4 fights in 2020, 2 fights in 2021. I'm hoping to see him active this year. I think with a big win here, he can definitely talk about title challenge. I think with a big win here, he can definitely talk about challenging for the title. The guy's been on a hot streak. Like I said, 7 in a row in the UFC, undefeated. Let's see, he got 4 decisions, but the last 3 were TKOs. So if it's showing you anything, the guy's improving, whether it's his power, his technique, he's finishing the fight. He's beating big names, Cub Swanson, Edson Barbosa, Erwin Rivera. So he has quite the resume.
Yeah, and the way he's beating these people, he's making them look like they don't really belong in the octagon with him. So, and on top of his 7-0 in the UFC, he's also on a 9-fight winning streak. He lost that fight in his debut. Well, it wasn't his debut. It was the Dana White Contender Series, and since then he's been on a 9-fight winning streak, destroying everybody in his way. So it's gonna be fun to see what he does with Calvin Kattar.
Look, in my opinion, the only way Calvin Kattar probably gets the win is if he can somehow out-grapple Giga and get a submission. I know, as we saw in that fight, Giga isn't the best, he doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu, so maybe Kattar can squeeze out a submission somehow, but he's not the best submission artist himself. Like I say, he's more of a striker. So I'm going with the Georgian, Giga Chikadze, on this one. How about you?
I'm definitely going to go with Giga Chikadze as well. I feel like that's the general consensus for this fight. And also, Calvin Kattar is coming off that brutal loss to Max Holloway, where Max Holloway, if you remember, set a record with most strikes ever landed in a fight, which was 445 strikes landed. And the previous record prior to that was, I believe, around like 290 or something like that. So he got beaten really badly. So like, you got to think of like, how is that going to affect him as a fighter and as like a person in general? Because he got really hurt in that fight.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back. And honestly, I kind of feel bad for Calvin Kattar because I like the guy. I think he's a great fighter. He seems like a very interesting person. Like, someone he's just an appealing person overall. And I hate to see him take another loss. You know what I mean? It's going to kind of set him down in the rankings pretty low, I think. But look, this isn't an easy sport.
I mean, I think that if he loses, which I think he's probably going to lose. I don't think he's going to go too far in the rank, too far back in the rank. He's currently number 5, which you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
So if Giga beats him, I would assume he'll be at like number 7, maybe at number 8. But I don't think he's going to go too far back. But I mean, losing to Giga, I know like the fight didn't happen yet, and we're already putting all our stake into Giga Chikadze, but it's kind of hard to bet against him. It's Giga Chikadze is looking amazing, and not to say that Calvin Kattar isn't, but like the last fight, it was a brutal one. And if you erase that fight, Max Holloway, Kattar's been looking really good. He
Yeah.
beat Ricardo Lamas. He beat Jeremy Stevens, Dan Ige, top prospects in the division. So prior to that fight, he was looking really good. And I was actually really surprised to see Max Holloway do what he did with him in that fashion, because I was really high in Calvin Kattar. I still am, but there are definitely holes in the game. And when it comes to striking, I feel like Giga Chikadze is one of the best in the division, even maybe better than Max Holloway. So the kicks are definitely better than Max Holloway. So it's gonna be a fun matchup.
I think the fight with Holloway spoke more to Holloway than it did to Calvin Kattar. So, if people are new fans to either the Calvin Kattar or MMA in general, I feel like if they only watch that last fight, they probably don't think Calvin Kattar is really good. But I just think it was just Max Holloway, man. He's just so much farther ahead of his competition. But yeah, man, I think Giga by KO. I think I'm gonna put a prop bet in this weekend for that.
Giga by KO. I mean, I was thinking that too, but then I looked at Calvin Kattar's record. He's never been knocked out before. And Max Holloway did some damage to him, and he was still in there, like kind of, not really, but he was still standing. And I don't know, Giga Chikadze is really good. I could see the KO, but just looking at the statistics, it's kind of unlikely. I'm probably gonna have to go with Chikadze by decision, I want to say.
It'll be interesting. We'll see. We don't. He has a tank to go to the distance, but I don't think we've seen him in a 5-round fight before. So let's see how his cardio holds up.
Yeah, this is going to be a great fight at featherweight. It's going to be the person that wins this fight. They're going to be in the title contention after this win. So just to wrap up this fight, the current betting odds is -205 for Giga Chikadze, +180 for Calvin Kattar. So if you want to make some money and you have faith in Kattar, go for it. But I would probably advise not to.